Hey everybody, what's up? Today is Wednesday, December 29th, and I'm going to be doing a drive from my company's office here in Edina, Minnesota to Micro Center, which is located in St. Louis Park, Minnesota. It's about a 20-minute trip. We're just going to take side roads only, just as the highway driving is pretty boring, to be honest with you. So the roads at this point should be hopefully fairly cleared off and plowed, so I do not anticipate much from a road condition perspective. Should be pretty straightforward. Had some interesting, disengagements on the way here. A lot of them are related to conditions, so hopefully this will be a much better drive. But yeah, without further ado, I'm going to engage FSD here, just getting out of this parking lot, and then we'll go from there. All right, a good job waiting for all the traffic to go there. The only thing I'll say at the very end was we maybe nudged a little too far forward, but aside from that, I mean, honestly, that was like textbook in my opinion. It's one of the better left turns I've seen FSD Beta make. So far so good there. Looks like a little bit of visibility issues there thanks to the road conditions, and I'm going to slow down just because it is so cold out. There is a lot of black ice on the roads, unfortunately, so just like my drive earlier today, I'm going to have a similar approach to controlling the speed. Alright, so a little bit more hesitation than I would have preferred there, so I will report that, but as you can see, otherwise a pretty good turn. Awesome, and another pretty decent turn there. Again, the only caveat that I will say is the speed that it's carrying right now. I mean, even if they just based it on temperature, apologies for that, my GoPro just cut out there, but what I was trying to say was even if Tesla just based the speed and the power output or how much throttle they're going to give coming out of a corner or into a corner, just based on temperature alone, I think it'd be a big improvement from where we're at now. The car just applies way too much throttle and carries way too much corner speed for the conditions, right? I have winter tires, so we can kind of get away with it, but your average Tesla Model 3 or Y with all seasons would be sliding around quite a bit, and you'd see a lot more disengagements. So hopefully the team is taking note of these things and addressing that here in a future build. All right, a great job with that left turn there. No issues. And again, I'm taking this route. I'm having to kind of update the navigation here, mainly because the waypoints right now are still assuming you're going to make a full stop at each of the stops along the way, which we're not wanting to do. We just want to take a route without highway driving, so. And as you can see, I mean, FSD is doing a great job of just handling the side streets here that are partially still covered with snow. I mean, they're mostly plowed, but obviously the curbs and whatnot are buried under snow. So this has been consistently pretty good, honestly, throughout the FSD builds, at least since 10.5 was when we really got our first, consistent snowstorm. So a little slipping there again. The amount of throttle there that the car is applying is just a bit too much for the conditions. So again, I'll be lowering the speed as much as I can and trying to control it. But it's one thing that's for sure a limitation with the current, FSD stack. So honestly, the car did a pretty good job there of making that turn. It was sliding a little bit, and I was expecting it to give up, but it stuck with it, and eventually came to a pretty solid left turn there. Again, the inputs could be a bit smoother considering the conditions, but for now, I mean, it's still pretty tolerable, to be honest with you. Did a great job with that right turn. I was a little concerned we were stopping too far back, but the car kept comfortably nudging forward. So in terms of behavior, that's some of the best that I've seen so far in terms of how it's approaching a right turn on a busy street like this. All right, so as far as the roundabout goes, I think we're coming to too much of a stop there. I would have liked to see a bit more confidence with the approach. We don't really have one car behind us right now, so it's not that big of a deal, but it would have been nicer to see it just, comfortably, roll into the roundabout and proceed. But again, honestly, it does it better than most Minnesotan drivers, sadly enough, but could still get better. And great job there, just confidently proceeding through that stop sign, almost a rolling stop, as I want, right? I have the assertive profile selected in my settings here, so it's great to see that the car is being properly assertive and proceeding at intersections like that. So just a quick comment there. That's the first intersection of that type, or I'm sorry, turn lane of that type, where the car has actually properly entered it and actually used it. There's one by my house that's a little shorter than that, so I'm curious to see if they actually permanently address that issue. So we'll have to see on maybe a later drive if that one is put to rest. But so far that's pretty cool, because that's the first time I've ever seen FSD take a turn lane like that and properly leverage it. So pretty cool. So a little abrupt braking there. I'm going to report that. That wasn't really necessary in my opinion. We could have kind of rolled to a stop more than we did, so I'm not quite sure. I'll have to look at the footage later, but can't really make out a reason for why I jammed the brakes so much there. So as far as line selection goes there, I will report that we're a little too close to the curb. I was a little nervous that we were going to be kind of riding up a snowbank there, but we eventually figured it out. It looks like we're kind of figuring it out here, and the car did. I was expecting a disengagement there. I mean, obviously, we slowed up a little bit too much there, so I definitely will report that, but honestly, that was pretty darn good. Definitely did not expect it to make it through that area there. Wow, I'm actually flat out impressed there. Again, I expected a disengagement. Maybe we carried a little too much speed for my own comfort. I would have probably taken that another 5 miles an hour slower, but the car figured it out. Yeah, I'm impressed. That was awesome. And again, we've kind of come across some tricky intersections here, some left, rights, and whatnot, and so far the car seems to be doing an outstanding job. So far, the only adjustment I've had to do is adjust the maximum speed. And I might actually, in future drives with conditions like this, limit the offset by about -5, at least maybe -10, just so we're 5 under the speed limit, just so the car doesn't get up to such a high speed. You just don't know how icy the roads are going to be when it's this cold. Alright, so the car was a little slow to react there with the mail truck, but once he turned, it wasn't such a big deal, but I'll report that. I would have liked to see a bit quicker detection of the mail truck moving, so we would have slotted in right behind him just before we got to that stop sign there, but nonetheless, you know, again, not terrible behavior, just if somebody was behind us, they'd be a little confused why we were so far out and not proceeding. This is a pretty poor visibility intersection here, so we're going to be really interested to see how it handles this. We might be waiting here a bit. Alright, I'm going to give it a little nudge here because there's a BMW coming in hot in our left there. But otherwise, it handled it pretty darn well. So again, that intersection, I mean, even as a human driver, it's pretty much blind on your left and blind on your right because you're kind of crossing into the street at an angle, so your visibility on both sides is pretty limited. Because of the throttle input, I'll report it, but honestly, like, that was pretty decent considering the current feature set of FSD beta. So a great job avoiding that car. That car was sticking out well past the line, and it recognized it and went around it accordingly. So that was pretty cool. Again, a great approach to that stop sign there and that intersection. It was empty, and the car proceeded very quickly and didn't wait around a second longer than it needed to. So that was pretty cool. All right, I'm just going to nudge it along a little bit because there's no traffic to our left here, just to get it to proceed. And as a result, I'll be reporting that as well. And apologies for not having full screen up. It's sometimes hard when you're juggling a few different waypoints that you're having to constantly search in, and this is a new route for me, so not quite sure why the car isn't proceeding here. Just pressing the accelerator here just to get it to go. And we'll be reporting that as well. I'm not quite sure. I've had a couple of those around the Twin Cities where the car will just sit there and not proceed on green, and there doesn't seem to be any indicated reason why. So if Tesla would put in a little status message of why the car is stopping or not accelerating, it would be super useful in testing, and it would make us as the users feel a bit more aware of what the car is thinking and what it's seeing, or not seeing for that matter. Alright, so aside from the speed there, jumping to 30, which is a parking lot, I'm not going to do. We're basically at Micro Center right now. It's right up here, so I'm going to take over from here. That was awesome. Definitely one of the first zero disengagement drives that I've had in a long time. I maybe pushed it a bit with 10.2 and 10.3, but since then I've had multiple disengagements on similar routes. And considering the conditions with the snow and slush everywhere and the salt, yeah, I'm flat out impressed with how well FSD did. So great job, FSD Beta 10.8. Definitely a step in the right direction. We'll be very curious to see what the next steps are in terms of development and where they're going to go from here. But anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.